So Paradox just announced another game, which is a direct competitor to The Sims, or more specifically to The Sims 4, or maybe a successor in the future. You can see some clips in the background, but we are going to take it apart in this video in a couple of seconds. But just let's have a little look at this trailer first before we then go on having a little look at some of the spicy bits. This is just the announcement of the announcement, because the actual announcement with some play stuff will be there at the 20th of March, so just in a couple of days, and we will be there, we will be covering it, so make sure to stay here if you're more into that. But now let's go back a little and have a little talk over this video. So this just dropped yesterday and I was a little bit confused to why and how and what on. So Paradox just seems to be full on EA and so on now, just really going into the genre that they have dominated for years now with The Sims and SimCity, and just basically taking on the Sim genre, literally, with two games, with Cities Skylines 2 and also with Live by You, which is going to be pretty much obviously a direct competitor to The Sims. And now let's have a little look over here at the first shot. So what can we see is pretty much a little valley in which there are some building spaces and so on and so forth, and there is a person doing some yoga over here while another person is doing a little hike. So graphic wise, obviously it's not like exactly screaming next level, but this is just kind of a little teaser, and it's also not Paradox themselves. It's basically via their own publisher they have in a different construct, a little bit like Frontier Foundry, but I'm still very excited what is in there in the coming days. Now, let's go forward a little bit to not make it too long, because there's not so much to see in this frame, but even more to see is in this frame. And you can tell that this video is obviously aiming at showing or showcasing that this is obviously a city. I would even say graphic-wise, it's pretty much on par with The Sims 4. We don't know too much about the project that is going to be leading into Sims 5, so it's not really a comparison, and I'm assuming that this game is upon release this year as well. We will know more obviously at the 20th. But now skipping forward a little bit, you can see we followed the car driving around, going over or switching over into an indoor scene, and here we see a lot better graphics, to be honest, than what we've seen on the streets, which makes sure that the focus is obviously on building the houses and stuff. We will see in another frame, which we have to talk about a lot in a second. The next frame is going to be super interesting, because that's the only one we have the interface in. But before we head to the interface, let's have a little look at what we're seeing over here. So basically you can tell there are a couple of persons in here. We've got a little one here, we've got a couple hugging themselves. I think it's two girls, I guess, if I see it correctly, which I do like already. What's on the left hand side over here is also like another person sniffing on that flower or whatever that is. Not sure if that's even looks almost like a gray person, not even sure if it's a thief or whatnot, but yeah, you can see a lovely staircase over here, even though that seems to be pretty dangerous. I mean, at least you need to have like a wall over here. It's super steep. I love that wooden panel wall over here. We will see that in my new office as well. So if you're curious for that, it's going to be in the new office soon. It's not just quite here yet, but yeah. We've got the sofa pre-standard the table, and I don't want to go over every single element. The one thing I do see though is everything is very rectangular and very much on a grid, which I do hope is just the style of the house rather than the style of the game, because obviously our expectations on a game like that would be super high. With Paralives, we even have another competitor in the making, and they showcase already quite a lot of stuff that is going to be in. So yeah, it's important for them to step up by the beginning already. Per default have to be very good. Anyways, let's move forward a little bit. You can see the sunlight also very interesting. Look at the sunlight passing by rather quickly. I mean, there's surely something showcased going on, because the sunlight wouldn't change that dramatically while one person is just moving, or the speed of the simulation is insane. I don't know. But let's go into the next frame, because that one is, wait, can we actually see what the person is doing? Look, the person is watering actually the flower. Look at that. This is interesting. Actually, the person is watering the floor, if you ask me, but you can pinpoint that here. But yeah, if you have a close look, you see that. This is the frame we need to talk about. So if you haven't clicked away or skipped here, please stick with me in the next couple minutes. We have to talk that, because there's a lot to see in here, a lot to talk about, a lot to cover. This is a obvious house building process with a lot of detail we can see. So first of all, let's skip your view, or like direct your view to the top right. You can see the person building in here has a total of 500,000 in-game currency, which looks like a C with 2 dashes. I'm not sure if that's an actual currency, by the way. I haven't seen that. Seems like a different one for the in-game. You can see where the entrance to the lot is. We do have a pretty standard lot, but the funny bit is you can see there are also 2 different entrances to the left and right, and almost looks like there's a separate shed here on the other side. You can see some foliage around and some trees that seem to be a little bit different from the other ones. So the graphics on this lot seems to be a bit improved, and the other ones have some worse LODs to save on, on some, basic stuff. But in here, you can tell there is a lot to go on. So we can see we are now in the roof building. As you can see, the left-hand side, there's a whole menu. I think we should go through that menu first before we talk about what's on screen. Now you can tell there is a floor plan, there is the roof, there are doors, there are window frames, there are like columns, there seems to be like furniture, staircases, fences, that looks to be like foliage or anything like that, and this looks to be destruction. Now, what can we else see is also pretty much great, because there are different roof variants which I'm a big fan of. So you can see the standard tilted roof, we can make some cutouts, which is pretty cool. We've got some standard cubes, standard like, arched roofs, or kind of pointed roofs. We have got some 4-way pointed roofs. We've got a one that goes very pointy. We've got some, rectangular or like different shaped ones. I have no idea what the word for that one is, and even some rounded roofs, and that looks to be like pointed rounded roofs, so you can make some tower spires and stuff like that. And all of them look to be very much scalable to the extent how much they are tilted, because you can tell that from these roofs in here, like this one is differently tilted than that one, and the same goes for this like terrace archway kind of thing awning, which is yet again having a different one. And if you guys have ever played The Sims, you know how painful roof design can be. And there's a lot of, workarounds needed to achieve certain things. I really do hope that this makes life a lot more easier for people who want to make good roofs. Anyways, let's skip forward a little bit, because one thing we're doing is we are selecting on the left hand side, and boom, there you go. It looked to be pretty simple in my opinion, building walls, like adding a wall, adding a complete room, removing a room, adding kind of bits, I guess this is, moving stuff, and this almost looks like a slice tool of some sort, which pretty much is used, like a kind of a used thing you have pretty much known. And the more I look at this, is definitely a shed that kind of could belong to this house. I love the view inside of the house as well. It looks very familiar, to not say copied, but I mean, what you want to do, I mean, the Sims have obviously established something over the years. There's not that much you should do different, because you want to drag people in from that genre. So it's really more about the details. We can't tell obviously from this very short teaser, but what we can tell is that the graphics at least do hold up to what you would expect in a game in the modern. I would even say we have to see how the game actually looks, because it's not like outperforming anything else, but we have to see it, because many of these games require quite a bit of computing power. So I'd rather have a game that looks decent but not phenomenal, but then also plays very well for a lot of people. Yeah, just going on a little, you can see zooming in unveils a lot more of what the house is having. I love this kind of hanging seat kind of thing over here. Love this one. And yet again, I can't really tell if things are like tilted too much or not. It still looks very rectangular, but this is just guessing. This is like no real clue or anything. If we go over here, there's nothing really you can tell. In this shot over here, you can see at least things seem to be a little bit differently positioned. But yeah, again, this like lovely hanging seat over here, I love that one. It's super cool. Also on the tab left, you can see there's like an info. This is the Anne-Marie Borg's house, I guess. I would say it's Anne, I guess. Whatever. And you can see the kitchen. Everything looks super familiar. Again, I'm not going through all of these details. Lovely, like kind of flamingo painting over here. Just in general, super nice. Zooming in, you can see there is some action going on in the microwave, and we also have a beach situation, which again is a little hint, I guess, at the fact that they also have different like things to do, you know, not only the house building, but also jobs to fulfill, spending time at the beach, blah, 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 you know, all the kind of stuff. It's not like super important to talk too much about this because we have to hear from them. And this is also where we end the video, because Live by You announcement again, March 20th from Paradox Tectonic. And yeah, I'm hyped. I hope you guys are too. Please let me know in the comments down below. The same thing as with Cities. What are the top 5 things you would wish from a game like that? And let's kind of take The Sims 4 as the direct competitor that we take as a kind of baseline, and from which you need 5 improvements. I'm gonna give you one already from my side. I definitely need a complete flexi color option for the items instead of having 7 variants with 7 different color patterns, but then again can't change those. I just need that in my life. And obviously a scalability option would be nice, but it's up to you. So if you guys want to keep being, informed about these 2 games, like Cities Skylines 2 and also Live by You, you better subscribe to the channel. We are going to cover this a lot in the coming days. We're going to cover this hopefully as in a live stream. I'm not sure which time it is, but if we can, we're gonna make like a little watch along of the announcement. So stick with me for that. And if you want to have more info just in general, join my Discord. Link is in the description as always. You will see the events and new videos scheduled in there as well. Thank you so much as always for your time you spent here. Lovely, like that a lot. So thanks so much, and I talk to you in the next one. Have a good time, guys, and goodbye.